President Trump has made incredible progress in brokering the first face-to-face meeting between Putin and Zelensky, meant to happen in the next fortnight. But strangely, most media outlets seem unwilling to accept that he could be on the verge of a peace deal. Here was his press secretary, Caroline Levitt, speaking about this today.
All weekend following those historic U.S.-Russia bilateral talks, we listened to clueless pundits on television trying but failing to claim that the president had failed.
And joining me now is the Nightly's chief writer, Aaron Patrick. Aaron, is Caroline right?
Let's wait and see, Sharri. Certainly it's heading in the right direction, but it's probably too early to know for certain if this meeting is going to happen. But look, it looks like the president is doing everything he can to bring about peace in Ukraine. And, you know, even those who dislike him, I think sort of have to acknowledge that.
Yeah, it was a show of, I suppose, unity with all the European leaders. The meeting with Zelensky was as positive as it could have been, far calmer than last time. The media were very critical of the fact that Trump even met with Putin. But, you know, if it could lead to peace, then of course you've got to talk to the Russian dictator.
Well, they were very critical of the president for allowing Vladimir Putin to come to Alaska or go to Alaska and sit down and sort of have all the kudos of the presidential FaceTime. Maybe it'll work. Look, Donald Trump is an very experienced negotiator, and he's been president before. He's had four years to learn the job. So no, the professional pundits, particularly in foreign affairs, hated that he allowed President Putin to visit him. But I do think it's too early to conclude that it's worked yet. But yeah, I think the signs are heading in the right direction.
A lot of difficult negotiations ahead over territory. Now, Trump was kind of joking about whether he might get to heaven if he does manage to put an end to the Russia-Ukraine war. Have a look at this interview.
If I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons.
I mean, it's kind of funny, but he wants to get to heaven, but he also wants a Nobel Peace Prize, doesn't he?
Apparently. Look, I think he's got a bit of a sense of humour, which he doesn't often get credit for. And I interviewed Foreign Ambassador Joe Hockey this week in Perth, where I am now, and Joe said, look, he's not a religious man, but he was profoundly affected by that attempt on his life next year. The president is 79 years old, and my latest research shows me that the average age of an American man at his death is 78 and a half years old. So I think he's feeling his mortality, and I think he's thinking about life in the way all of us do at the end of our lives, is what's my legacy and what have I achieved? And clearly he wants to have a legacy of being a good president who saved people's lives, and I think that's admirable.
I think if 79 is still young, still got a good couple of decades in him, probably. Now, Aaron, you just mentioned your interview with Joe Hockey, and Joe Hockey said that Trump is the most influential US president in a century. Can you, in 40 seconds, can you tell us a bit more about this?
Well, he was comparing Donald Trump to Teddy Roosevelt, and his argument is that Trump's a disruptor, and we're living in a disrupted world. So he is a president fit for his time.
Right, Aaron, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And it's true. I mean, you know, we have to look at what Trump achieves at the end of this presidency, but his legacy, it could be profound. We'll have to see if he can end this war. But there's one thing for sure. It doesn't matter what he does. He doesn't get the credit for it.